Oh my word, where did that music go? Guys, you know where that music went? In your head, because it is Saturday morning. It's time to wake up. We are here, back, live, to continue to talk about these amazing online Lightseeker League games. How are we doing? How is Saturday morning feeling? I started a little bit late. My girlfriend had her first trial at her where she's a paralegal. They won it this week, so that's awesome. Good for them. But she's been feeling kind of crummy, had like a headache and whatnot, and her allergies are really getting to her. So this morning, I spur of the moment decided, you know what? While she's still sleeping, I'm gonna go buy a 4 pack of cinnamon rolls at the gas station and surprise her. So that's what I did. That's why I'm a little late. So I had a cinnamon roll because I'm hungry and I enjoy them too. So sorry for the delay, but I thought I'd do something nice for her as she's not feeling that well. But yeah, guys, Wrangler, good morning. Cecilia, Rocketstar, Mud Turtle, everyone is here. Wow, oh my god, 9 viewers on a Saturday morning. That's pretty impressive. That's like right at the top of my cusp that I usually get like 2 hours into the stream. Good morning to all you fine, amazing, dandy folk. Now, as the stream would suggest, today I'm going to have a co-host, finally, as he's not on call, not at work. It is Saturday morning. His name is Mud Turtle. You may know him as the creator of the Online Lightseekers League, the person who's running the entire event. Let's just get him on here. Let's just get him on the phone call. Hopefully he's ready. He's in chat, so I'm assuming he knows he's here. There he is, Mud Turtle. Say good morning to the fine people in chat, as is one of them.
Hello. Good morning, everyone.
Awesome. Great to have you here, Mud. Now, we chatted for like 30 seconds. You said you watched all the games because you couldn't stand the anticipation, which I totally get. These games are awesome. Awesome job by all you players out there, all the amazing deck builders. Great games to see thus far. Mud, which game would you like to start with? Or is there any opening words to your fans and fellow Lightseekers that you would like to say before we begin today's session of commentating?
We could start with whatever you want.
Awesome. Awesome. Now, I'm going to go in here. I'm going to share my screen with you. Hopefully, that means that you can watch it without the Twitch delay, and we can comment at the same time. So, can you see my screen on the in the Discord?
Yep, I see your screen.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I figured we just go down the list. We have TS versus OFC first. Now, as far as I'm aware, oops. That started at the very end. Now, as far as I'm aware, I don't have OFC, so it's just TS's perspective here. So, H-Man the Man, got it right this time, says this is the first time I've been on that very beginning. Oh, I've been on at the very beginning? Dude, welcome to the show. Glad to have you here. All right. Now, Mud, you know these decks and performers very well. Obviously, you did watch it. Is there any insight into what type of decks we're going to be seeing in these matchups before we go? As I do not have the deck list privy, so all I see is the hero. Is one like a control, one more aggro centered? What kind of little tidbits before we get started can you tell us about the decks?
Q2 is an aggro deck, pretty much.
Okay.
And OFC's Vandal is kind of a deck where you lay a buff and use combos to kill people.
Awesome. Awesome. I think your speakers are picking up a feedback loop. I heard your voice repeating in the background. So we have an aggro and a buff aggro. Sounds good. So, with that being said, everyone. Oh. Okay. Okay. But no sound on it. Am I muted? On the call? Mud, am I muted on the call? Maybe that's why there's a delay in our speech. OFC, good morning, sir. Oh man, okay.
Yeah, I'm using the sound from your Twitch stream.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, let me. Oh Lord, where's the settings? That is so weird. Where is? All right. I changed my microphone setting to a different mic, so it might sound a little weird, but hopefully the sound and everything comes through without a delay over Discord.
Yep.
Awesome.
That works.
Awesome. Okay. So now me and Mud can actually talk without a 10-second delay on the videos that we're going to be doing, and the commenting could feel a lot better. All right. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, TS versus OFC. Let begin. We should probably put it on my stream, huh? So people can see it. Why is it showing that monitor now? What? All of these technical difficulties. Why is that monitor being the one that's shown? Well, this is just going to be awkward. Why my monitor setup is... Okay. Okay. As we have slight technical delays, my apologies, everyone, for this. I thought it would be fine. Okay. That's not the one. Well, the good news here is, it's now being able to capture two monitors. However, it's not capturing... Oh, that's not exactly how I wanted it at all. Why? Why are you like this? Okay. So this is what I'm going to have to do. Yes. Let me just move some things around. I will have to wonder why the settings spontaneously flopped all my monitors on me. So it's going to seem a little weird as now I'm looking at this screen instead of this screen while playing. So my camera might look a little off. Which means I got to share a different monitor for Mud. I got to share this one, as this is the one that'll actually have the game. Okay. Okay. I think everything is fine. I don't know for sure. I could have just broken everything, but that's how we're gonna find. That's how we're gonna fix it. That's how we're gonna fix it. Is that what you did the other day to get both the matches last time? Last time what I did is I essentially had both matchups. And I was able to just put them side by side on the screens and show them both, because both people put their stuff up on the Discord channel. Today I don't think OFC has posted his matches. Of course, he's in chat, so he can clearly tell us if he has or has not. But right now, it's just TS versus OFC. Said, yeah, I tried uploading my video like 4 times, it hasn't loaded. Trying again now, but I think my app doesn't like me. Oh, that's a bummer, man. I'm sorry about that. I really am. Yes, this video is going to feel a little weird, as for some reason it's detecting a different monitor now. But I have 2 monitors set up. I'll have to change display settings because this is just an awkward layout for me. Anyway, Mud, are you still with us? Are you ready to go?
Yep.
Awesome. So, awesome. I don't know if I can email the video to someone to upload it though. LOL. Mud Turtle, do you ever make a YouTube video or a YouTube page for all these matchups? If you try and email it to Mud Turtle, you might be able to put it on his YouTube channel that he has. But without further ado, sorry for the technical delays, everybody. I'll be looking here and not here. Here's the game. Let's begin, Mud Turtle. So I don't think there's any sound. Oh, there is sound. Sweet. Little ambiance. So as you said, TS is playing a very aggressive style deck. It looks like he is incorporating an explosion into there as well. Astronomer's a nice start, especially for Vandal, for getting that card draw. Now, do you think with TS's hand right now being only one attack card, is he just going to pass draw here? Or do you think he's going to put down the Electrified Moat and play somewhat a little defensively after Quitu's ability? Ooh, getting that Blacksmith's a really good pickup. Put in the turret right away so he has access to the blast spot. Now I'm trying to think, how many locations are in Astral in a sense? It looks like he is going to play the Moat as a defensive measure as well. This is not a bad play. Ice Feather Mystic off the Astronomer. Great call. Getting a lot of that card draw in is amazing to see. And being able to restart it. OFC is still drawing cards here, waiting for a large hand, probably going off on a spike turn that we have seen a Vandal deck in the past before. TS using his card ability to just draw, hoping to hit a Lightning for any damage out of his ability first. He is going to use it to Heroic Starfish, try and get some chip damage and try to heal. He probably knows that OFC, the Vandal deck, does have really spike damage. So constantly trying to stay at a higher health above this is a great call to do. Another Ice Feather Mystic on the Astronomer. Drawing another 4 cards off the same buff. That is amazing value to see. OFC must just be digging for a large hand here. Now with not a whole lot of buffs, TS is just kind of holding the Thunder Slug back. As it is kind of waiting for those really good buffs to be able to eliminate them. Does pick up another Electrified Moat. Is he going to lay it? He is going to lay it. So he has 2 moats out now just in case OFC. But now would be actually a really good time to, if he does have a Pathfinder in that massive hand, those are pretty strong buffs to remove. However, he is not attacking with a whole lot of attack cards. He is more of a buff-based damage deck. So the moats might not feel as threatening to some decks, or to this deck as it would some other decks. More card draw off of Enlightenment. OFC is running Animal. Now that is a really interesting choice in this Astral deck. We have seen it. He's 17 cards in hand. Did I see that right? That is amazing. TS still drawing 1 card at a time, trying to keep up the pace with OFC. He hasn't done anything really threatening right now. He's just been drawing a whole bunch of cards. So you have to imagine that with over half his deck in his hand, he's got to be putting on the offensive soon. But with a wall up from TS, the attacks are going to come in very seldomly. And if he starts laying buffs, the Thunder Slug is in hand. So TS is actually in a pretty nice position to defend such a large hand. It all depends on how OFC really comes at the aggressive side right now. Puts down the Dawnstalker and a Twilight Oracle. Picks up the Blinding Beetle, so 4 healing. Now the Blinding Beetle is in hand, knowing that 2 attack cards are going to be removed soon if he decides to play that card. Nice information for TS to have right now. TS starting off once again with Quitu's ability, just trying to get any chip damage that he can. Now he has several attacks. The Thunder Slug, it might be a good play to remove that Dawnstalker, which is what he's going to do right here. Dawnstalker gets removed, so that's one of the buffs that does essentially 10 damage with that Lunar on top. He probably had a combo in hand, almost certainly to use the Vandal's ability with. Removing that 10 damage is a great threat. Knowing, as I've played the Vandal deck myself in a tournament, I have done around 26 damage just on that state of a board, and it was insane to see. And, of course, the Thunder Slug, as Cecilia just mentioned, will also prevent any buffs the next run, so All FC decides to just pass and draw, wait the Thunder Slug out. TS is probably going to be using his ability. Now is a good turn for that Living Cloud. He knows the Blinding Beetle's in hand. Use the Living Cloud as soon as possible before it gets removed with the Blinding Beetle. He has no buffs in hand. Really apply that pressure. So OFC laying the Blinding Beetle, which is what I assumed he was going to do. Moving 2 attack cards, decides to put the Overload and the Dust Fiend back, keeping Blastbot and Dust Fiend in hand in case anything terrible does happen. He does have Bubblefish and Vitalizing Frog as well for defensive capabilities. Decides to Twilight Oracle on his second action, just keep drawing, keep healing, keep yourself above a high health total. TS is most likely going to Quito once again. It's a very good starting mood. With a low hand, just draw that damage, draw the cards that you need while chipping away at your opponent. He might just decide to pass and draw here, as he doesn't really have any major offensive capabilities to deal with such a large hand. Oh, Mud, I'm so sorry. Is it lagging that bad behind? Oh, man, I'm sorry. Well, Mud, if you want to comment after the games what you thought about that, we can do a recap commentary. I'm always okay for that. Maybe, like, if you put the YouTube video up and we'll try and sync it, we can do better that time for the next match. That works too. That works too, Mud. So TS does put the Bubblefish down. He draws the third Electrified mode off of it, knowing that OFC is probably going to come off with a huge swing turn off of a combo, as the Vandal deck usually does. Bubblefish here is a great call. Gravity Bubble is an insane combo to be playing right now. All 3 of the buffs go to the very last corner. 8 damage gets through on the Dawnstalker. Gets to restart the Dawnstalker. OFC with a huge swing and momentum turn. Plays a Black Hole, so it's a 1-for-1 trade for it. Even gets to draw a card after Gravity Bubble. Great offensive and defensive capability for OFC in that turn as well. TS is at 16, not quite at 15 to turn that turret on. He's wondering what kind of other tricks OFC has up his sleeve now that Dawnstalker can be played again in the same way as it was last turn. Black Hole is not in the hand, but there is things like Planetary Alignment that he has to watch out for. He's going to decide to lay that Bubblefish he just picked up to try and be as defensive as possible. But I think with 8 damage from the Dawnstalker and potentially 10 damage from a Planetary Alignment, that might seal out the game, depending on if OFC actually has the combo in hand. And he does. There comes the 1-2 punch from the Vandal deck, having an amazing opener by drawing essentially 8 cards with 1 Astronomer, then laying the other Astronomer to get another 8 cards off, or another 4 cards off it, was an insane value to do. I can't see the hand size total, but I'm assuming he still has over 10 cards in hand after that happened. OFC with just an amazing tempo opener against TS. That was quite the deck. Obviously, the deck worked in an amazing fashion. TS was not able to keep up the pace with its damage in hand. Mud Turtle, if you are still on the call, why don't you give us your thoughts on that matchup? How did you think TS performed in the situation that he was in? Is there anything that, looking at his hand size, or maybe could have done better? Was he looking for something? What are your call on that matchups? Mud, are you still there? He may have muted me to watch the stream, because the stream was being really laggy. Oh, Mud just said the Twitch stream was actually ahead of the stream that I was sharing with him. Oh, that's a bummer, man. Are you still able to talk like between matches to kind of give a match recap? I'd love to do that with you.
Yeah, sure.
Awesome. So obviously in that matchup, OFC just had an amazing opener, being able to draw basically 12 cards in the time it took TS to draw about 4 or 5 off his Quetsu ability and just pass drawing. So OFC had an amazing, obviously, opener, continuous tempo on board. He had that spike damage to come through. Was there anything in TS's deck that you can assume that he was trying to dig for really quick? Is there anything that he could have drawn to possibly do better against that matchup? Or was it just the overwhelming pace that OFC set off from the bat that just threw him for the loop?
I think it was just the card draw. OFC just had all the cards he needed to complete that. I know TS's deck, I believe, he tries to set you up for an overload to kill you at like 14 or 15 damage.
Okay.
And I think TS was saving his Thunderslug for the damaging cards that he knew was coming.
Yeah, as we saw that he didn't remove a single Astronomer, and he waited for the Dawnstalker. Do you feel that if playing that Thunderslug against the Astronomer to just slow down his card draw tempo would have kept him in the game a little longer, seeing as had OFC wouldn't have such accumulated resources by the time the Thunderslug was played at the Dawnstalker?
Hard to say. I don't think, though, that he expected him to reuse that Astronomer so many times.
That's very true. I think the one Astronomer drew him, 12 cards alone, and then the second one came down. Yeah, it's really hard to determine a 4-corner buff being used on the second turn that it's laid. It's just one of those spontaneous things that Astro does really well with rotating its buffs that way. And then, of course, he did have the second Astronomer, but he could have drawn that off the first one. I'm still trying to gauge whether or not it would have been a better play to stop the tempo before it got out of control, or to actually save the Thunderslug the way he did just for the damage. Knowing the spike damage would come in from one buff, I think TS in that matchup may have wanted to stop the tempo and slow the game down to his pace, knowing that his deck can't card draw as well as the Astronomer style can. Yes, he would have blown on the defensive resources, but at that point, if you can slow down your opponent's tempo and gauge in them with damage resources, that might have put them on a more defensive loop with all the Twilight Oracles and all the healing to not as well basically put pressure on them as opposed to letting them just draw cards and gain resources. Any last thoughts on that game before we go into round 2? Obviously, TS is back up again against OFC's second deck. Great matchup. Really hard to gauge without seeing OFC's hand of what he was really digging for, what all he was waiting for, what he had to play. But I think that was a great matchup. It just seemed that once OFC got the card draw engine going, it was very hard to stop how much overwhelming pressure he had on the against him with only 1 or 2 buffs on the board. Just knowing his hand size was so easily to control you with Astral's tool set. All right, as we go into the second matchup, is there 3 matchups? It looks like there's 3.
Yeah, TS and OFC had 3 games.
Awesome to see. As we see, TS is in chat saying next time we'll make sure to bring my Crushing Charger for the future. Against Astral, I mean, Crushing Charger is a probably really good card.
I thought TS always had a Crushing Charger
in his decks. I mean, he very well could have. He just didn't have the draw potential or the amount of time to get to it, as OFC literally had over half his deck in his hand, which was insane. You can't get much luckier than to get your Astronomer and 2 of the Ice Feather Mystics back to back.
Yeah, though, I agree. TS, there's nothing I don't think he could have done. He had to save those slugs for the damaging cards.
Yeah.
Because he knows that he can hit them for 22 damage in one turn.
Exactly, and I mean, with the only defensive capabilities that he had were the moats, and a lot of the damage was going to come through buffs. It was just more of a I need to plan my control around what I know he has, and just kind of hope that he doesn't overwhelm me with it. But in the end, it did seem that OFC had all the tools he needed right away at the beginning. So into round 2, TS is sticking with Quito. OFC decides to bust out his Captain Blacktail. Amazing. I love this hero. I love this hero so much. Now, what type of deck is this? Either OFC or Mud Turtle. Is this more of a aggro? Is it a tempo? What kind of deck are we looking at here? As Quito uses his ability to draw the Blacksmith. I don't know if he's going to use it just yet. It wouldn't hurt to equip the turret right away.
I don't remember what OFC had in his deck.
OFC says it's an aggro deck. An aggro mid-range. Awesome. Thanks for the insight, OFC. Thank you very much. So the Living Cloud comes out right away for 6 damage. Right in the back, because obviously no buffs are on board. The best time to lay it is the earliest time, unless you get the Thunder Slug out to control the board. OFC is here. Umbron Thief getting that little bit of healing as it's right on the cusp of where that 4 damage hits. He might just go ahead and use the pass draw, keep resources in hand. Knowing that it is an aggro mid-range, 1 card a turn, drawing a card, just keep your hand somewhat where it's never at a dry point, where you obviously have a dead turn, is probably a really good call here. Quito using his ability to draw. He knows he picks up a blast bot. And then he passes and draws again. His hand is pretty offensive based on the board, but it's really early in the game for him to start just attacking. As we learned before, that he does try and set up some nice, really big swing turns with the Overload and all that other things. You don't really, at this point in the deck, want to just keep laying attacks, knowing that Captain Blacktail can probably just heal back up, and then if you don't have the combo in hand right away, it's difficult to keep that pressure constantly on him. So we have the Heroic Starfish coming down for 3 damage and 3 healing, a nice 6-point swing as we lead into OFC's turn. He has 6 cards in hand as he passed through. Once again, pass drawing, just kind of waiting his turn, getting those resources. It's still early in the game. He's above 20 health. Doesn't feel that much pressure against all the attacks coming in just yet. As Quito picks up Cold Snap, an amazing combo against very buff-heavy decks. Just pass and draws again, picks up a Storm Strike. Now, this is an amazing Storm combo that we saw, and that we have been seeing in a lot of aggro decks. It's just 9 damage, look for another combo. So many other good combos for Storm to look for. OFC just pass and drawing again. Without the Astronomers, he has to do it on his own time, essentially, not drawing 4 cards in a turn, but 2 at a time. TS having such a large hand now, I feel that he's ready to start applying the pressure. I'm not sure if it was too soon or not. He might be planning a Storm Strike turn for next turn, looking for a combo to put down to keep the pressure going. But he does have a lot of water cards, so I'm not sure what he would do after Storm Strike comes down. TS having a really nice turn there with that Lunar Shrieker. Putting the pressure on while getting heal for 4 is amazing to see there. TS pass drawing again, as Quito does. Picks up the Electrified Moat. Great pickup. He might actually put it down here right now with knowing that Blacktail does have some attack cards. And he does just kind of put that really nice offensive / defensive capability off of this amazing buff that we haven't seen a whole lot, or at least I haven't, but it is a really nice tech buff that I do think deserves a lot more praise in what it does. So OFC is just pass drawing again right now. Not quite sure how he's going to deal with it. He's got to find a Thunder Slug to get past the mode if he wants to keep attacking like he was before. Quito picks up another card. The Living Cloud is a great pickup here as it does represent 6 damage as there's no buffs on board. Play that thing right away. It's an amazing call. Putting him down to 16. OFC's starting to feel the pressure come in. He is getting a little low. Storm is really nice in spike damage, as we've seen from its combos, and just its really powerful attack cards. With that moat on board, it's really hard to see what OFC can do unless he gets rid of it with a Thunder Slug. He has a lot of resources in hand, but it depends on what he... There's an Umbron Thief, so he is going to counteract that Electrified Moat for the 3 damage, 3 healing. Nice plays on there. As OFC hits for 4 damage, kind of splitting the difference in the health total just a little bit. Lunar Shrieker pulls back the Umbron Thief. Umbron Thief is actually an amazing card against Electrified Moat, as it does represent just 4 damage essentially. As long as you're above health, because the moat will make the 3 healing almost negligible. He puts down his other moat alongside him, so TS and OFC are pretty much neck and neck right now. There is a 4-point swing, but their hand sizes are both very large, a lot of resources. Both have moats on the board, knowing that if they both attack each other, they're both going to continuously dwindle each other down. TS does pick up the Overload, which we do know, as a matter of fact, is a great combo spike turn. But with that blast spot, there goes the moat, and there goes probably one of the few defenses that OFC has in his deck. So OFC, no buffs on board, still a large hand size, 17 health looking at. Moonlight Berber comes down. Let's see what he's got on the top 4. Anything worthwhile to pick up. Maybe looking for a slug to get rid of that moat to keep applying pressure without doing self-damage. Or he could be looking for a combo to try and cinch this thing out the way that Blacktail does. Twilight Oracle picking up a... I'm not sure which... It was the new one of the new elementals. Playing down a second moat. Keeping the game neck and neck. But there is a second blast spot in hand from TS. We probably will see that come down alongside the Bubblefish to prevent as much incoming damage as possible while removing the moat. Great plays here. TS is now only left with 3 combos and a Dust Fiend in hand, essentially for damage. So we might be seeing a few past draw turns, as he does have a nice kind of defensive wall all set up. OFC lays down the Mari Bard, making those buffs almost negligible. Umbron Thief comes through, gets a 7-point swing off of it as a 4 damage, 3 healing. OFC sitting on 7 cards in hand, probably looking to cinch this thing out. But TS with the turret, Overload coming in for the exact, I think it's 13 damage off this Overload. Getting him below 15 there, putting the turret online, was able to give him the exact amount of damage he needed for that Overload to just come in and swing him down for the last little bit of health. Great back-and-back aggro games, great calls on both players determining their buffs. Mudturtle, what did you think of that game?
Yeah, that was a better example on what TS's deck is meant to do. He had all the cards he needed in his hand to pretty much control whatever OFC did. He had the Frog to heal him up. He had the Bubblefish to block damage. He had his Blast Bots to remove a lot of threats.
No, exactly. I think OFC, or not OFC, TS that round did have all the tool sets that he needed in hand at the right timing. It wasn't even that he was drawing into them and top decking with Kuitu's ability. It's that he was storing them, knowing the matchup that he was going to go into, knowing which buffs we had to remove before things went bad for him. He did have the Vitalizing Frog in hand from the very beginning, but we never saw him use it because he didn't feel that threatened until the very end. And even then, when he dropped below 15, he did have the turret online. He did have the Overload in hand to be able to finish that final damage against TS, or OFC. I'm getting the names mixed up. There's so many acronyms, it's amazing. Was there anything that we were waiting for to see from OFC's deck that we'll see hopefully next game that you think he was drawing for in those early games, just trying to apply pressure? Or was this one of those that he probably didn't have the attack cards, it was all defensive, like the Mari Bards, the Twilight Shriekers, all that stuff? Was there anything that OFC could have drawn or was looking for in his Blacktail deck that might have helped him come back from those electrified moats that were on the board?
I'm not sure exactly what's in his deck, but he was saying in chat that he was looking for his, I think it's the Vortex, the one that increases elemental damage.
Oh!
So that's what he was searching for.
Okay, that would make sense, that he was waiting for a big spike turn. Knowing that the turret was going to come online, that he didn't want to just chip damage him down, he needed to really swing for the fences on those. So he's waiting for the Vortex Planes. That makes a lot of sense if he's waiting for a certain damage amplification combo to then lay it down, or not combo, buff, to then lay it down and really just hit home before the turret gets online and starts overwhelming him with the consistent damage. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I mean, that just goes with commenting and you don't know the deck lists right in front of you to be able to get your full perspective. Thank you, OFC, for the insight of what you were looking for. That's great to hear. Now we can give our full opinion on it. Any last tidbits, Mudturtle, you would like to add before we go into round 3 of this amazing Online Lightseekers League Week 2 matchup?
Nope.
Awesome. Well, I think those were great matches. Great kind of little tidbits of what the decks do. Obviously, TS had, like you said, all the resources to stabilize in the game, to keep himself on top. OFC had, once again, a really nice matchup. We never did see the Blacktail's ability, so I wonder if we'll see that coming into the second matchup for that to just be able to utilize to get the last bit of damage. But if he was waiting for the Vortex Planes, he was probably looking for less chip damage and more heavy-hitting attack cards. So as we go in here, we'll just skip to when the match starts. TS's next deck after Quito is Ferris. Now we've seen an amazing build from Mud Turtle himself on his Ferris deck. Let's see how close TS came to it as well, as Mud Turtle has been sharing that deck with a lot of people. A Colossi Gateway with Ferris. That's actually pretty interesting. That with the Colossi Gateway in the deck along with Ferris, it almost seems that it's more of a late game aggro-centered build. It's probably based or teched around a lot of decks that do go into the late game, and Ferris tends to run out of steam against a lot of those control types. OFC starting off by just pass drawing. TS immediately equipping the turret with the Tantosian Blacksmith. Great opener. He probably is just going to pass draw here, get some resources, or he's going to lay the Mountain Breaker. So that does dwindle these resources down to 3 cards. Well, I guess he did get the additional action, so it's going to go back up to 4. But starting with the Mountain Breaker is not that bad for TS's playstyle right now. Waiting, a buff that can't be removed. OFC doesn't have ability to return buffs or anything, so that buff is going to pretty much guarantee 6 damage unless OFC gets a damage prevention. Cosmic Convection. Draws 2 cards off of it. Heals for 2. Now, I have actually personally never seen this buff play, so I'm glad that someone is actually running it. I really do wish Astral and Storm hybrid combos would get a better combo buff for them. I really do. So he lays Umbron Barkeep, drawing 2 cards, healing for 2. Great pickup there from TS on his last action. Putting the Flame Bat in, he has a very, very aggro-centered style. 2 Flame Bats, a Crystal Bat. He's got the Mountain Breaker, so Ferris is going to get him back 2 Flame Bats after they're both used if he decides to use it. Has a lot of just constant damage pressure in hand. OFC really needs to find ways to stabilize against this, knowing that Ferris is a very heavy aggro-style deck. And with the turret, as soon as he gets him down low, the turret will start dealing chip damage as well. Plays the Umbron Thief into the Moonlight Burrower, as we saw from the previous games. Not sure what he was looking for or what he was hoping to pick up there, but it did seem it was a quick pick, so he must have known that it was a good card to have. Twilight Oracle drawing into the Spark Wisp. Great card draw, great healing and stabilization. Picking up a nice damage attack card here. One more turn until that Mountain Breaker goes off from TS. He may decide to pass draw here. He may decide to keep applying a pressure with either a Crystal Bat or a Flame Bat. It looks like he did just slam that pass draw. The game is just kind of loading a little bit. There we go. Mountain Fort and Stream of Tantos. Now, Stream of Tantos is a nice combo. It has to pay for the Rock Melter, or if he needs the Spike Healing for some reason, it'll get him that healing. OFC draws an Astro card, getting him an additional action. So 3 actions this turn. Really great pickup there. As we now see, OFC did pick up the Vortex Plains. Unlucky for TS, he does not have Crystal H in hand. So here comes some major offense from OFC with that Vortex Plains coming down. Into a Moonlight Burrow with the additional action off of Spark Wisp, hoping to pick up, I'm assuming, another elemental attack card. OFC using the last action, just pass draw. He did have 4 cards in hand. It's really good to start building up resources to be able to use that Vortex Plains. Mountain Breaker swings in for a hit, and a Mountain Fort comes down after seeing that Vortex Plains, knowing that now is the time to put it down. Second action to put the Colossi Gateway. He does have a minimal hand size, 4 cards, but his opponent OFC only has 4 cards as well. Healing for 1 after picking up Amari Bard. Seeing that come down is going to be very threatening for TS to realize that his defense is now pretty much gone for the next 2 turns. Vortex Plains is going to swing for full damage on the turns with Mari Bard as well. It all depends on if OFC has the card damage output in hand to swing and go hard. Looks like he's still trying to accumulate his pass draws here. TS decides not to Rock Melter, actually, to remove the Mari Bard. Let it go, pass draw there, gets a Crystal Leech, but it is unfortunately 1 turn too late. Hopefully TS can have some sort of stabilization after the Mari Bard goes away to really stay in this. He is most likely going to be dropped below 15 to have that turret come online. The Mountain Fort will come online his next turn as well to get him some nice defensive capabilities. The Lunar Shrieker picks back up the Dust Fiend in case he wants to use it for a combo. Probably not a bad idea. With Dust Fiend in a hybrid deck like that, Dust Fiend is going to be one of your good tools to lay those heavy-hitting combos. OFC might be gauging whether or not it's correct to put him below 15 with another attack, or what to do here. It looks like he just passed draws from the action going away. So the turret is not online. Unfortunate for TS, that might have been his saving grace to put him below enough for the turret to help him get back into this game. He, however, does lay the stream of Tantos, 7 healing, 6 damage, a nice 13-point swing there off of that mountain combo. Great healing, puts him even and even again. OFC, for all that damage output through the Vortex Plains, TS is still in this game. Now with his Mountain Fort back online, let's see if OFC has able to pick up a Thunder Slug to remove any threats on board right now. OFC still passing and drawing, biding his time. Mountain Breaker rotates out. I believe that is 2 elementals in the discard pile, the Mountain Breaker and a Flame Bat. Third Flame Bat coming in. Most likely going to use that ritual, or the Colossi Gateway, to bring back those 3 elementals that are in his discard pile. Just accumulate all of his resources again that he has been using to push pressure. Knowing that OFC knows for a fact that he has 16 damage just in hand on the 3 cards that he put back, not even knowing what the other 3 cards in his hand were. Here comes a Moat to try and be a little more offensive. That Moat is actually going to be very nice against... Never mind, I was going to say the Mountain Fort, but Thunder Slug is just going to kill that thing right away. However, TS does have a Crystal Leech in hand to remove those threats. I'm not sure if he actually will, though. He might just put down a Mountain Breaker and pass. Save the Crystal Leech for something else, because the Thunder Slug is not that threatening right now. It's just the Moat. OFC might just Mountain Breaker and pass. Play at a really continuous damage here. Let his resources gather back up. He is going to actually play the Flame Bat. All right. Taking the 3 damage from the Moat. It is only 3 damage. He was at 23. He might intentionally use that Moat to bring him down below 15 to get that turret online. That is a bit of a risk, but we'll see if it's worth paying off. Vortex Plains does come out. We are almost undoubtedly going to be seeing a Crystal Leech next turn. Moving the Moat and the Vortex Plains. So TS now has 12 damage. Crystal Leech does come out, removing the 2 very threatening buffs on board for OFC. He has a Flame Bat in hand. He has a Flame Chain Warrior. We might just wait until next turn for that 9 damage to come through, and the turret is a surprise 2 damage. Flame Bat just kind of cinching the deal. OFC really does need to heal here. Mountain Breaker is threatening lethal. So we have an Overlord. Unfortunately, that is not going to be enough. OFC was unable to draw or any healing in that game. The Lunar Shriekers were used early on in the game, but the turret is going to cinch the deal for the 2 damage. Flame Chain Warrior coming in for the last 4. Very good back-to-back. There was no real one-sided the entire time. Both people played out their boards really well. Both people had the control at the right time as well. Those were great games to see. Mud Turtle, what are your thoughts on that last game?
Yeah, that was... Okay. Yeah, that was pretty much a classic Ferris build. It's similar to mine, except mine uses Flame Burrowers to bring my Flame Bats back after I use them. His uses the Colossi Gateways. And then he, of course, uses the portable turret. I don't know if TS has any Boulder Feast in there, but I tend to prefer running healing cards over damage reduction.
Now, I know your style is more play only a few buffs, especially like Mountain Breaker, so they can't have their buff removal be very potent against you. Do you think in that sort of play style that the Boulder Feast would have been a better card over the Mountain Fort, as the Mountain Fort does protect a lot more damage? And it's really there if your opponent doesn't have buff removal. If it does, it is only like one of the buffs that they do remove. Obviously you prefer Boulder Feast, but is there ever a situation where you think that you would in fact want that Mountain Fort in there? He is running the turret as well, So damage prevention over healing does keep the turret online a lot more too. So the tech choices, they go hand in hand in what TS I think was doing there. But I could see situations where they're both one is better than the other.
Oh yeah, it's just a personal preference of mine.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Now I'm actually more surprised in that matchup that OFC, it is an aggro mid range. It does rely on the Vortex planes a lot as well, and we did see a lot of nice elemental synergy in that. I do know the only probably benefit from Lunar in that was the card draw to get through the deck, and the Lunar Shriekers are also elementals for in spike healing. I guess OFC is here. I probably should just ask him. Is there a reason that he's running Blacktail over just a Storm aggro that runs Vortex Planes? Seeing as Blacktail, a lot of the decks I see Blacktail using really try to utilize at least his ability for some damage to get through. But that one, I didn't see any reason to really use that ability to try and chip damage. You really just wanted to use your deck for it and just kind of utilize his 3 ability systems. Is there any? Do you think the deck could be improved, or do you think that staying away from the Blacktail ability is the best way to play that deck? OFC says, I just like the hero, and it's still in the early stages. Nothing wrong with that, man. Not a single thing wrong with that. I like the deck, too. I think it performed very well. Obviously, the Vortex Planes were a great card in there as well. Lunar Shriekers and Twilight Oracle work very well with the Elemental build. That's true. That is very true. Yep. No, I mean, the card draw resources and the ability to get them back in your hand after using them is a great way to use that build as well. So, great job to you guys. Great job. Mud, any last statements you would like to give to the players on their matches? Anything that you would just like to say in general as we lead into the second round of matches today? What, are you still there?
Yep, I'm here.
Awesome. Was there anything that you wanted to say to our competitors at their last match before we move into the next round?
No. I think we pretty much said everything.
Okay, cool. Now, who was your opponent in your match?
Their team name is Seekers. I don't know how to pronounce that last one.
Okay.
Sorry with the knee. And it was Sepe.
Sepe? Okay. Because it does look like, I mean, he posted his Mixer stream, but I'm trying to see if he actually posted his games, because right now it's showing a video of him playing Pokemon. And I'm wondering if there is, past streams. There we go. Here's the stream of him versus the Exteria Everox. So we will try and actually get both of these set up. Try and get yours set up to where you guys start the game. I do like being able to watch both matches and actually see their hands. I think it makes it for a very interesting experience to at least talk about. So we'll start there. Okay, so here we go. We see the Scrapworks Bruiser come down from Mud Turtle. Mud Turtle using a Tempest ability after the Scrapworks Bruiser. I'm sorry if the frames are really small. I'm trying to read the cards here as well. Tosses a combo to draw 2 cards, gets a Nitro Heal and a Tyrix Fixer, a lot of defensive capabilities from him. Sepe having a lot of offensive abilities in those Umbron and Kriebel cards as well, but not a whole lot of Storm capabilities. Looking at Crackling Torrent, figuring out what it does, Sepe decides to lay the Sneaky Kriebel here. 4 damage to Mud Turtle, just applying that nice chip damage. Probably going to pass draw as he does. See what he picks up as we go into Mud Turtle's turn. Mud Turtle just past drawing, not feeling a threat. They're both above 20. Doesn't have a whole lot of offensive resources that he wants to lay right now. He does have the healing capabilities in case things go bad. Sepe might be using Crab Rider Nita's ability just for 1 damage, just to get that nice chip damage in. Like I said, he is holding a lot of damage through his Umbron and Kriebel cards. Decides to pass draw, picks up another Kriebel Warrior for damage. He has a lot of attack cards in hand. Mud Turtle puts a Bombling out, hoping to apply some nice spike pressure. Tempesting ability, putting that Blast Bot back to draw another Hammer Down and another Tyrix Fixer. Now, he is holding a lot of defensive capabilities. Well, actually, not a whole lot of offensive stuff. Sepe is only at 24, so I'm not sure if this is the time to really go hard with the Bombling, or if Mud Turtle is going to decide to wait out a little bit and build up more resources for the attacks. Sepe decides to play down the Kriebel Warrior for 4 damage. He still does have 2 Umbron Thieves and a Sneaky Kriebel in hand, along with that Thunderslug in case things go bad. Picks up the bane of my existence with the Electro Hopper. Great card by Sepe. Decides to Reckless Tinker from Mud Turtle. We have 10 damage coming through with that Bombling as well. Really pulling ahead. Probably utilizing the fact that he doesn't need as many defensive capability resources and decides to pass draw. Picks up the Quantum Loop and an Umbron Thief. Now, we only have 8 potential damage from the Umbron Thief, but I think Quantum Loop can deal 9? But I'm not sure if he has... No, he does not have the second explosive to be able to lay Quantum Loop. Electro Hopper comes down from Sepe, just staring Mud Turtle down in the face. Decides to pass, gets the Empowered Slug... Right? No, the Impressed Sludge Fin. Umbron Thief from Mud Turtle, getting that 4 damage in. Pass drawing after the fact. Putting back probably a Hammer Down Enforcer, or... Yep. It's not that much offensive capabilities. Picking up 2 nice attack cards to really go in with the attack damage as well. He can Quantum Loop next turn for 9. I'm not sure... Oh, well, actually with the Nitro Heal is a defend card, but I'm not sure if Quantum Loop says action defend cards. It might be able to hit him for 11, but Sepe does go ahead and heal with his own Umbron Thief, putting him above 13. Deciding whether or not to use the Impressed Sludge Fin does put the 3 damage on Mud. Mud is at 8. We are essentially less than 2 minutes into this, down to the wire. That Hopper is looking at constant damage in hand. Mud Turtle is going to go ahead and play Quantum Loop. Never mind, he is not going to play Quantum Loop. He's going to... Deciding whether or not it's better to Umbron Thief or Tyrix Fixer to get himself back into this. I think Umbron Thief was a great call there, getting that extra little bit of healing before the Fixer, putting him back up to 18.
Yeah, that Quantum Loop was a mistake on my part.
Oh, that you were about to lay?
I was thinking I could use the Fixer to pay for it. I wasn't looking at the elements.
Oh, okay, gotcha. No, that makes complete sense, yeah. You were looking at going, why can't I pay for this with the cards I want? I've had that several times.
I was trying to get him down to 13, and I thought I had him.
So close. It is now 12 and 12. It is now your turn as you go into the Tempest ability. Tossing back the Reckless Tinkerer, hoping to pick up something nice here. 2 Chronomoths. Nice pickup. The Hammer Down Enforcer is going to kill the Electro Hopper. Stop that constant pressure of 2 damage in hand, just in case he does have any immediate pressure off of his combos. Sepe's turn. Not a whole lot of offensive capabilities in hand, unfortunately, but the Vitalizing Frog was a nice pickup on him to stabilize and get back into this game if he decides to use it. Fortunately, it looks like he's just passing drawing. Mud Turtle is going to use the ability again. Tossing back one of the Moths. Just looking for anything damage-wise. He does pick up the Tantosian Blacksmith. Probably, yep, looking for that turret, getting superior explosive, and having a turret already online. This is now below 15 health. 3 damage from the Chrono Moth. Drawing into another Chrono Moth. With that, Quantum Loop is now lethal if Sepe doesn't decide to heal here. Sepe looking, deciding whether or not it's better to play Stormwall or go in for the offensive with Living Cloud. There are no buffs on the board. Living Cloud hits for 6, bringing Mud Turtle down to half his health. Vitalizing Frog is a great counter card too, healing him back up for 6. 12-point swing with 2 action cards is just absurd. Mud Turtle now is, I think, 2 out of lethal range with that Quantum Loop. Umbron Thief, very nice counter card there, back to 9 and 9 apiece. Uses the Chrono Moth to get him back down to 6. Drawing a card, it's a Tyrax Bruiser. That is now 11 damage represented in hand. Sepe needs to figure out what he's going to do. If he lays the Storm Wall, he should be in good shape, as he will not be able to attack the next turn, getting 4 damage through. I think that's exactly what he's going to do. Put the Storm Wall down. Preventing Mud Turtle from swinging in for lethal. Dealing 4 damage to himself. Hopefully even picking up... with Crab Rider Nita's ability, that would be lethal in there. Mud Turtle gets the 2 damage through with the turret. Decides to Tempest as he cannot lay the Nitro heal, unfortunately. Ditches the Quantum Loop, hopefully looking for more. I don't think he finds it. He gets the Blacksmith again, but there are no more weapons. Mud Turtle's just got to make it through this next turn, and then he has all the damage he needs. Let's see if Sepe realizes that he has lethal with Crab Rider Nita's ability. Sneaky Creeble comes through for the 4 damage, and the Crab Rider Nita poke for the win. Such a close game. That Storm Wall was an amazing clutch card for them to have. Mud, did you edit the video, or is it going to keep going?
I did.
Okay, I'll pause them both.
It's going to keep going.
Okay, I'll pause them both. That way, after the game, we can just go right back into it. Or maybe I didn't hit the pause button. I thought I did. This is not pause. Does his game not pause? Whoops. Well, now I went way too far. Well, anyway, Mud Turtle, was there any thoughts on that game that you would like to share with us before we go into the next round? As you were the one sitting at the driver's seat.
No, I pretty much said most of it. Yeah, I made a mistake with that Quantum Loop. I let the Electro Hoppers sit out for way too long. I was trying to get him to what I thought would be lethal at 13.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't recover from that, and that Storm Wall just killed me. That was good.
Yeah, that Storm Wall coming down right there at that point really put a nice defensive board, and knowing that you had all the attack cards in hand, and that he needed to buy one turn at least.
Draw that portable turret until like later in.
Exactly. Very close games, man. Very close. As we go into game 2, Mud Turtle switches to Ferris. Sepe. Oh, trying to get these synced back up again. As I've hit the pause button and messed everything up. Alright, I think we're somewhat in sync now. Lava Tamer from Mud Turtle, as his classic Ferris build does. But Sepe, with Makia the Young, putting down a really offensive board right away at the beginning. He might just pass draw here, or he might put the Stump Drift Shaman down just to get some healing in. As we see, he decides to pass draw. Let's see if I can get these synced up just a little bit better. Crystal Leech does come down. I think I got it right on. Awesome. Removing all of the threats Sepe had. Mud Turtle sitting on 3 Flame Bats. That is insane. Sepe decides to put the Stump Drift Shaman down, knowing that he's going to get the micro healing over a few turns. Mud Turtle is being very aggressive as well. Decides to pass draw in his last action, get that Monster's Defender, Great pickup on a defensive-wise, but after that, Sepe does not have a whole lot of offense going on for him. Mud Turtle might just be able to overwhelm him with his cards. Does one Flame Bat, know he can get it back with Ferris. Picks up a Flame Burrower. Amazing card synergy in that Ferris build of his. Spirit Mob does come through with 6 damage to Mud Turtle as well. Now, if he lays the Monster Defender, he only has 2 cards, but he is going to start stabilizing a little bit. Decides to pass draw, picks up a Vicious Scale Fang. A nice offensive capability that nature has. Boulder Feast coming through from Mud Turtle. After taking 6 damage, decides, you know what? I'm just going to heal for 6 and pass. Umbron Barkeep. Now is actually a good time for Mud Turtle to start dumping his hand. However, with the Flame Burrower, he's not going to do it as quickly as he probably wants to. Sepe is in the strategy where he's just going to keep playing a card a turn, keeping his hand size pretty fairly low, around 4 cards as usual. Which is going to make that Umbron Barkeep a little more difficult for Mud Turtle to be able to utilize. Goes with a second Flame Bat and the Flame Burrower to get that Flame Bat back. Really nice offensive cards, really get that card synergy going for the utility to be able to just accumulate all of his resources all at once again, if I can talk properly. Sepe does probably lay the Umbron Thief here. He is going to get that nice healing off of it as well, making for a nice 7-point swing. Vicious Scale Fang does represent another 4 damage on board. Decides to go ahead and lay down that Monster's Defender, knowing Mud Turtle has a Flame Bat in hand. Probably other offensive capabilities, as Mud Turtle's Ferris back is very strong. Mud Turtle decides to just pass draw, picks up a Crystal Leech, which is amazing here to get through that defense, but he may be waiting to save it for another buff to be able to utilize when the game really counts for it. Unfortunately, picking up an Umbron Informant, all these cards are utility, but too late to be able to utilize them, as Sepe has been using his cards pretty wisely. Boulder Feast, Mud Turtle might just say that it's time to utilize as many cards as possible. Picks up a second Flame Burrower, has that Flame Bat, Flame Burrower play again. Vicious Scale Fang rotates out. Spineback Stockjaw could allow him to search for several of his Beast cards. Could get him another... Oh, no, it's the wrong one. I'm thinking of the Beast Tamer. Spineback restarting the Moss Ridge, being very defensive, knowing that his hand is not that offensive right now. So keeping the defense is going to keep him in the game. Mud Turtle looks like he's just pass drawing, just waiting out his resources for that Moss Ridge to go away. Bloomback Dragon could be a good buff to put down right now. To almost guarantee that Moss Ridge sticks out. However, Mud Turtle is eyeing that Crystal Leech in his hand. His Mouse Curse is already over it, knowing he's going to remove those 2 buffs. Now is the tempo swing that he's been waiting for. Crystal Leech into Lava Tamer. Not a whole lot of more Fire Elemental cards to put into his hand outside of the Warriors. Picking one of them as it is just a nice card to have. Sepe, only 4 cards in hand. I would say his plans are either Ashwood Nurturer to look for a Beast card, or to pass draw and just rebuild resources. He is deciding to go the Nurturer route, healing for 2. Getting what I assume would be a Corvid Conspiracy. It does represent more damage more continuously, but it looks like he is going to go with the Vicious Scale Fang. Getting that nice damage in if he decides to lay it. He actually decides to pass, picking up a Life Binding, which is a great pickup on his part. However, he is missing a Forest card. He's not going to be able to lay Life Binding, and it might be a little too late, as Mud Turtle's hand does look extremely explosive. Flame Burrower into that Flame Bat again. Having Flame Bat and Flame Chain Warrior in hand with a 3rd Flame Bat. Lava Tamer, he has all the resources to be able to close this game out if necessary, and it does not look like Sepe has the healing. No Forest card picked up on that pass draw, so Life Binding is still a dead combo in hand. Mud Turtle is just swinging for the fences, knowing he has to drive this game home. He does have 8 damage in hand with Lava Tamer and Flame Bat. Sepe needs to really find a defensive thing to do in here. Unfortunately for him, he does not have that capability and time to be able to do it. Puts down a Beast Control, saying, you know what? If I'm going to go out, I'm going to go out with a combo on board and a nature card in my heart. So Beast Control does sit on the board, but Mud Turtle does have lethal in hand to just close this game out. Flame Bat into Lava Tamer. Usually the other way around, but still as effective as always. Mud Turtle, great game. I think that Ferris deck pretty much, the only thing you did is draw your card draw just a few turns too late. Sepe didn't have a whole lot of defensive capabilities. He didn't draw a lot of the forest cards in general to kind of stabilize and get back into that. What are your thoughts on that game? How do you feel that went?
Yeah, that Moss Ridge Defender pretty much made my card drawing cards useless because I tend to let those rotate out,
Mm-hmm.
especially against a nature deck like his, which is going to be full of buffs. So I wanted to save my Crystal Leeches for more menacing buffs.
Exactly.
So yeah, I built up my hand by drawing because he really didn't lay anything that was threatening. So I just let my hand build up and then just went off when.
I mean, yeah, you had all the resources possible in there. It was an amazing game to see. Very fluid, very explosive on your part, which Ferris always does. As we go into game 3 here, starting off strong. Tempest putting a bottling out, using his ability, picking up 2 very good offensive cards. Sepe still playing that strong nature game, putting a vicious Scale Fang out. He might put the Moss Ridge Defender down here as well, or he might use the Fungal to heal. Right now, seeing that Bombling does represent a lot of damage from Tech, but he decides to attack, really trying to just apply pressure where pressure is needed, hoping that he can race down Tech's offense. Mud Turtle using a Chronomoth with the Bombling, getting 9 damage through with the 2-card combo, drawing a card in the process. Puts down another Bombling. The Bombling here back to back is really representing a lot of damage coming through. Sepe might have to start using that Fungal Leecher for healing, or he might put the Moss Ridge Defender down. It looks like he is still going on the offense. Sepe is using nature in a very aggressive way, and I can truly respect that. Spineback Stock Draw is going to be restarting. Oh no, he can't use it because he used the Fungal Leecher. That explains it. The Ashwood Nurture, he's probably going to heal for 2. Never mind, he does Moss Ridge. He's clicking on cards, making me assume he's playing them. Moss Ridge Defender coming down, gets the really nice damage prevention. Mud Turtle putting back the Umbreon Thief. Sorry guys, it's still early in the morning. Putting down Ramparts as well, knowing that if he is going to keep attacking with the Fungal medium, he's going to be taking some damage as well. Blocking that 4 damage coming in from the Vicious Scale Fang. All damage prevented from the 2 defense resources with the Spineback Stock Draw. He might be deciding the Fungal Medium is probably the best call here. The Spineback Stock Draw, or Vicious Scale Fang would not do anything to that Ramparts. However, that Fungal Medium could represent a very nice defensive card now. Starting to look for more offensive cards. We might see a Corvid Conspiracy, however, that Bloomback Draga is looking pretty nice. We do decide to go with the Corvid Conspiracy card. Just try and get more damage. We are being a very aggressive nature style deck, but we are very low on resources, and that Ramparts is very it's diminishing a lot of our attack potential. Mud Turtle tossing back his combo for Tempest, picking up the portable turret. Being able to put double explosive online is huge right now. Ramparts is still in play. We may just see a pass draw here from Sepe, as that Ramparts is still in play. Oh no, I apologize. Thank you guys. Thank you. Now, as we see, Rampart still in its last corner. Mud Turtle waiting for that monster to rotate out, which it finally did. Sepe might utilize this time to lay the Corvin Conspiracy, time it up with Ramparts. Very well done here. Pass drawing is another option, but it looks like Fungal Medium is going to try and get as much damage through as it can before it rotates out. Attacking, getting 2 damage through, putting Mud Turtle at 14, putting his turret online now. Now, that turret being online is going to represent a lot of continuous damage for Mud Turtle. Double explosive, the Bombling, and the Scrapworks Bruiser. 12 damage coming through with essentially 1 card because the buff has been sitting there for several turns. Sepe, he might use the Fungal Medium to heal right now. It is his best option to heal and then pass. He does need to get as much use out of that buff as possible before it goes away next turn. Sepe putting himself up to 17. Getting a Moss Ridge Defender. Now, it is awesome to see as a defensive capability there. However, Mud Turtle does just have an explosive hand if he can get the damage through right now. Picking up a Hammer Down Enforcer is going to be great for next turn. Unknowing to Sepe that Mud Turtle has the capability to remove any threats on board that nature could put out. That Ramparts is just blocking that Conspiracy. Now, if we don't see the Monster's Defender... All right, there we go. Now we're probably a pass draw. Trying to play a little more defensive here. We're slowly running out of resources. Turret is going to be blocked by the Moss Ridge. But here comes that Hammer Down Enforcer. With the Ramparts blocking the 2 damage as well. Very nice synergy that Mud Turtle had going on there. We might just see the Umbron Thief as we are going to use the 2 explosives next turn to be able to lay for the combo. Sepe, unfortunately, not having the healing in hand. Not having really anything he can do. It looks like this game is already over. Passes and draws, looks for something to do. The turret hits for 2. Overwhelming Blast will hit for 11. And the aggro-style deck overwhelms nature due to its lack of card draw and unfortunate no spike healing in that deck either. Great games by both as nature was attempting to be as aggressive as it could to keep up with it. It just could not hold a candle to Tempest's card draw and overwhelming attack cards in general. Mud, would you like to say anything about your matchups?
Yeah, in that last one, I top deck like a champ. I only have 2 Ramparts in that build, and I drew them both exactly when I needed them. And with the Hammer Down Enforcer too, there at the end, I drew that right at the right moment. Sepe actually is interesting. He just joined Lightseekers when the league came about.
Oh,
and
really?
He joined with all the starter decks pretty much. As you can see, he's like level 36 right now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's doing really well, I think.
That's awesome for someone who just came into the game, doesn't know the whole lot of rules, as we've been seeing from his videos and commenting and whatnot, that he is checking out every card that you guys are laying, reading them, getting to know the game at a very fast pace. And I think this is actually a great way for new players to join in. It's just one of these tournaments. Go against the decks that you're probably going to see very well refined, or at least work on refinement with some restrictions due to some cards that are going to be changing. It's awesome to see a new player immediately want to jump in, play with the big boys, play with the people who have all the cards or something like the best cards, figure out what he needs to even craft in the future by going up against them firsthand experience. That's awesome to see that Sepe is doing this. Great to have him here. But yeah, I mean, you were top decking like no one else. Just a damage after damage. Double Ramparts right when you needed him to block the Fungal Medium. You had the Hammer Down Enforcer to block that last Moss Ridge. There was just, you had all the tool set within your top half of the deck, and it was just, the luck was on your side today, Mud.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, his first 2 matchups were against Cecilia and me, and I think Cecilia has all the cards. I have all the cards. So it's just interesting. I mean, matchup-wise, he's 2-4, and he's a couple turns away from being 2-0 in the whole thing.
Wow, every game he was in was very close setups that you guys you were maybe like 1 turn away or needed 1 resource to stabilize and get back in the game. It's amazing to see that like even the common starter decks can perform so well, and I give like 95% credit to the Electro Hopper. I mean that card is a clinch in any Storm deck ever. Awesome. Well, great to see. It looks like we only have one more matchup that people were able to post, and that is H-Man the Man 3. I did not mispronounce his name this time. And it looks like these are amazingly edited, too. Ooh. Are there sound? Is there sound? No sound. Alright, highest settings. Shall we begin? Alright. So H-Man the Man. Wow, I already messed it up. H-Man the Man is playing a Tyrannos deck versus Snecky's Charco Knight. Putting down that beacon, drawing the Colossi Idol. A lot of really nice defensive cards in hand. Tyrannos is probably going to start looking for some more offensive capabilities. We might just see a few turns of pass drawing here. Let's see what Snecky has up his sleeve. Swift Pyre, a great card for Charco Knight. There's the pass draw that we can pretty much assume was coming. Draga Scorcher is not bad. But we are going to see probably some really nice card synergies here with the Charco Knight being able to lay a fire buff, remove a fire buff. Swift Pyre into Swift Pyre is an amazing start. The card draw is great. The little bit of damage is really cool as well. Snecky just playing the nice tempo game, nice early, one buff at a time, one card draw. H-Man, he might be digging for some more resources come soon. Looks like he's just going to attack and pass, keep his hand size nice and full. Still drawing a lot of defensive capabilities. Not a whole lot of things to put him on the offense. He does have Pyro Fiend, but only one fire buff to utilize it with. Flame Fist Umbron comes down from Snecky. Getting that nice chip damage with Charco Knight. Now we have a very threatening, very powerful buff on board with the Umbron Flame Fist there. H-Man the Man might be putting down the Mountain Fort a few turns later, but it looks like Molten Fist is going to be dropped right now. If he gets attacked, the attacker's going to take 6 damage. He also has 6 damage on the buff alone through the ability. His hand size did dramatically dwindle there, but the cards that he kept were more defensive style. So if he does get overwhelmed or does get Crystal Leech, he does have a way to defend himself and rebuild himself back into this game by drawing cards with like a wall up to prevent it. Draws the Mimicking Magmites. I'm assuming there's other cards in there like the Draga Scorcher that can help utilize and get nice damage turns off of that as well. Right now, unfortunately, he does not have a pair to go along with it. He is going to get some nice damage through with that Flame Fist. Or not the Flame Fist, the combo. Can't think of the name now. H-Man the Man being a very nice person, giving as much time for me to commentate before he plays his turn. I love that. It allows breathing room for me as the commentator to be able to talk about some plays that he could make. Decides to go with the Molten Fist with the attack, probably thinking about what buffs he's looking out for to prevent. If he wants to lay the Mountain Fort this turn or wait next turn for that Flame Fist to hit, draws the Prison Bite Scuttler. Amazing pickup here as it will give him 2 damage and then eventually 2 card draw if it sticks on the board. Snecky has a handful of cards and a whole lot of options up his sleeve. Let's see what he does here to try and get around this. If he does try to attack, he's going to take essentially 7 damage off of any attack. Not getting a whole lot of damage through with that Crystal Bat, however. And that Flame Fist Umbron is essentially going to put him down to 9 the moment he triggers the ability on it. Molten Fist hitting through with 10. We might just see the Prison Bite Scuttler come down to 2 damage. There we go. 2 damage comes through. So if he actually decides to use the Flame Fist ability, Snecky will inevitably put himself at 1. That is a great play by H-Man the Man as a counter play to that Flame Fist. Snecky is desperately looking for anything he can do in this situation to utilize that buff the best he can. Unfortunately, it looks like he's looking at the buffs going, I can't even do this. I'm going to die if I even use the ability. Snecky may have to put down a Mountain Fort. He may have to Boulder Feast first. He may have to do something Decides to go with the Swift Pyre, killing that Flame Fist Umbron. Get himself just a little bit of healing. Fortunately for him, looking at H-Man's hand, he is knowing that there is not a whole lot of offensive capabilities to follow up with that combo of Molten Fists. We might just see a pass draw here, or Mimicking Magmite's coming down off the Scuttle. Wow, I can't even think of the name now. The Prism Bite Scuttler. Magmite going to be an additional card draw for him. Great plays to see. Only one card in hand. If Snecky has the Crystal Leech, I think the best thing he could do is kill the Prison Bite and the Mountain Fort. We have a Magma Worm coming down. That's going to chip away at that Mountain Fort dramatically. But does he have the buff removal? Does he have the buff removal to... It looks like he does not. H-Man the Man is going to be rewarded by getting 4 card draws over the next 2 turns because of this. Picks up the Crystal Leech. Now, if he decides to use it, it could be a great play. And it looks like he does. He might just pass draw here. And like I said, not a whole lot of offensive capabilities, but he does have potentially 2 more card draws at the beginning of his next turn if nothing is disrupted. So Snecky, once again, had the entire control of the game, it looked like, from the very beginning, starting off really strong. H-Man the Man not having a whole lot of offensive resources, but still maintaining control in this game due to constant pressure, nice plays with the Molten Fists, and now getting massive amounts of card draw. Snecky putting down the Draga Scorcher, representing 6 damage next turn. 4 through the Mountain Fort. Lava Tamer for 3, probably picking up a Flame Bat. Very nice call there, getting another 5 damage in. Doing this would put Snecky at 2. However, Snecky could heal. Tyrannos removing the Mimicking Magmites, healing for 4, just being really defensive right now, knowing that he's almost got the game in the bag. No reason to rush it. Apparently there's a mass text coming through. Great to know that he has so many friends, so many people that love and cherish him at one time, want to be able to communicate with him. Charco Knight, looking at his hand, trying to figure out what other fire buff or fire card he can utilize to get rid of that Draga Scorcher, to get that 1 healing, 1 damage in, tick out that Mountain Fort, and start going on his more offensive side. Searing Beam comes down, which will bypass any damage. Charco Knight eats up that Draga Scorcher, taking out the Mountain Fort. We may now be seeing a subtle comeback if Snecky can start healing. I think Snecky really needs to put a healing factor right now into his thing. He's being very offensive, but with H-Man the Man's hand, there is not a whole lot of threats he needs to worry about, as he does pick up a Crystallizer to reduce the hand size while dealing damage. With that beacon down as well, all the attacks that Snecky would do are being reduced. He's in a very nice defensive position, with his hand also being just no end in sight of resources. Puts down the Scorcher for initial 6 damage next turn. H-Man the Man, looking at his hand, probably does not feel that threatened with 3 Boulder Feasts in hand. He might just be trying to go for lethal right here. With Crystallizer as well. That'll clinch out the game. H the Man puts out some amazing damage. Tyrannos not feeling any threat, as a lot of defensive capabilities were there. Snecky just did not have the resources to put him through. That Mimicking Magmite along with Prison Bite Scuttler to draw 4 cards was amazing synergy. Eating it up with Tyrannos. Great deck built by H the Man. H-Man the Man. I am always going to mess that up. Great game by him. I think the Tyrannos build is very nice to see. Very strong competitor. Mud Turtle, any thoughts on that? About the decks and anything in general?
Yeah, that Molten Fist, I think, won the game for him. Snecky attacking into that Molten Fist with that Crystal Bat, that was probably what cost him the game. He could just never recover from that.
Yeah, taking 7 damage from just attacking with a Crystal Bat is not a very intuitive play if he didn't have anything to follow up with that. And then also, to comment on that, playing the Molten Fist right after the Umbron Flame Fist came down really prevented him from utilizing a very powerful buff that he was hoping to get a lot of value out of, but inevitably had to disregard it and ruin 10 damage on 1 card. That was amazing play by H-Man. So great games there. Do we see 3 games in this? It looks like we're going to be able to see 3 games. Yeah. Awesome. I love it when they go to 3. Access denied. How's it going, my man? Aquamarine Jovi. Oh, let me just. There are so many people there. Obviously, Dells came in. Dells, I don't want to forget about you. Jovi, thank you very much for tuning in. Who else is here? Access denied. So many people coming to watch these games. That's amazing to see. Hopefully, the people who are playing these games get them recorded, put them on the channel so we can talk about them and we can view the matchups of the week. These are amazing to do. I can't wait to keep doing these every Saturday. So, guys, get your games in early. Get them uploaded. Every Saturday morning, we'll talk about them. It'll be great. It'll be great to see you guys be highlighted on the show. As we continue here, we go into the next matchup. H-Man the Man doing a very nice job even editing these for us. As we see, Game 2. Grimace versus Charco Knight. Now, Grimace is a very fun Dread hero to have. A lot of poison buffs. Poison has been always a fun element to play around in Dread. Mudsorto, how do you think this match is going to go? With Charco Knight's vast, I guess, with the fire to just pump out a lot of damage, with Dread's not really big spike healing, but more or less it's cyclical damage. What are your thoughts on how this match is going to tend to lean? What are the cards that H-Man the Man needs to be looking for?
Pretty much just any poison buffs. Get those poison buffs out, get them rotating.
That's very true. So it looks like he needs to put on just as much constant pressure as Charco Knight is doing to really feed it home. We didn't see a whole lot of defensive capabilities in the first Charco Knight match, so knowing that he might not have as many means that putting on constant pressure right now probably is a good call. As you see, the Magmoran coming out after the Swift Pyre, really utilizing all the Charco Knight abilities that he has. We do have a Putrid Behemoth and a Spectral Widow in hand. However, that Shadow Form is just a really nice utility tool for when he gets low in the game. Decides to go with the Spectral Widow, put down a poison buff. We might just see a pass draw here, really keep the tempo on pace. Not bad at all right there. Now, we pick up a Lurking Horror, but Lurking Horror with the Putrid Behemoth is a very nice play with the double poison. However, which card do you think, because Umbron Terror Guard and Shadow Form are really nice defensive tools, do you think it's time for just a pass draw, or is there a card that you're willing to toss away for the Behemoth?
If it were me here, I would have passed drawed. Look for a better card to discard than the Terror Guard.
I think that would have been a good call, too. Right now, you're very limited on resources as well, just doing that, ditching 3 cards in a turn. With Charco Knights, as we've seen, very constant pressure that he put down there. However, if he does not have an answer to this, Snecky could be starting to get overwhelmed. He's looking at 6 damage next turn. The Shadow Puppet is in play from H-Man. They're not in play in his hand, so it could represent Knight's control to come back from it. However, without that, he's going to be pass drawing for quite a few turns. It could be a nice pace swing that Snecky needs to come back into this.
Yeah, I would have liked to build up my board state better before I laid down that Lurking Horror.
That's very true. Mind you, they are all poison buffs, so you can only remove 1 at a time. Shadow Puppet is going to come down and remove those 2 buffs. H-Man the Man is now completely out of resources, relying on his board state to keep him in the game for the next probably 2 turns. So H-Man the Man does pick up Assassin's Guild, which is nice. It could be used for card draw next turn to draw 3 cards. With a Shatter Flame hitting the board right now, that's going to swing the game probably in Snecky's favor, as it's going to bring H-Man the Man down to the same level as him in 1 turn, as he is out of resources to play anything. The Shadow Puppet was just used. Let's see what he picks up off of this Assassin's Guild 3 draw. More poison cards. None of them very defensively right now. Doesn't have any more Shadow or Death to put that Shadow Form into play. He might just need to start going ham on pressure. He might just play the Draga Hunter next turn to get at least a little bit more increase off that Shaman. We see a Flaming Zombie come in. Very nice card. Really underutilized. I'm not sure if anyone has really played that card a whole lot. And the Flame Fist Umbron. Representing a lot of damage coming in over the next 4 turns. Puts him at 8. Draga Hunter comes down for 2. Puts him at 6. Unfortunately, even if he does put the Behemoth down, that is only 5 damage. He'll be at 1. Not enough for lethal. Still trying to apply the pressure with the Corvus Shade. But it all depends on what we can do here within the next 2 turns. Stalwart Rockle. Mud Turtle's iconic land tortoise, if you will, is going to go ahead and prevent a lot of damage coming in the next 2 turns. Or the next turn, I should say.
That is a great card, I must say.
That is an amazing card. So H-Man the Man, realizing he doesn't have the resources, unfortunately, going to miss out on 4 damage next turn for the lethal. The turn after that, we have 16 coming in. There is no healing outside of Necro Dreadling that can really help him get above 16. I think H-Man the Man knows that it's probably over. Very interesting. Decides to eat the buff with a Flame Bat. Probably just wanted the nice little bit of healing to get him above 4. And a Banished Protector. Snecky playing with a lot of the Wave 5 cards. Very cool to see. So combos won't be able to kill him. He has 10 damage on a buff right now on board. Necro Dreadling, not enough healing to get him through. Unfortunately, no card draw to be able to get him out of lethal range. And Snecky steals this one from H-Man's Dread deck. That Stalwart Rockle, it was a very nice play. I'm not sure if it's what really saved in the game. He wasn't in lethal range, but it was a very nice tech play that H-Man probably did not see coming. Final game. Well, I missed everything, I feel. I feel like the first turn really sets a swing for the game. I don't even know how to begin. All right, so Snecky with Green Sprout. Looks like we have 2 buffs in play. Snecky might be playing a more insect variant with that Egg Chamber down. H-Man the Man putting down the Prison Bite Scuttler and the Swift Pyre. Going back to Tyrannos.
Yeah, just a little note on this game. For those who haven't been following the league that much or just watching this now. Once H-Man used Tyrannos, it's an auto loss kind of. Because he already won with Tyrannos, so he should have used Grimus for this game. So Snecky's playing this game for free pretty much.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
I mean, what I say the ruling is it's up to the person who you're playing against. He could either choose to replay the match with the Grimus, or he could take the auto loss if Snecky were to lose.
That's true. That would fit into the advanced constructed format. Once you win with the deck, it goes to the side and you have to win with the second deck. That makes sense. So, H-Man the Man, it's up to you and Snecky to talk, see if you want to play the last game again. You still have today and tomorrow, because I think the week ends on Sunday. So try and get a hold of Snecky, H-Man. Play that third game. Get it in there. Don't take the DQ.
This one actually still counted.
Oh, did it? Oh, well then never mind. You're good. You're good. Spoilers. We got some spoilers. So it looks like Egg Chamber did get him some nice insect cards. Feasting Cedos coming into play, getting that 3 healing. Nice card Nature has there. We do see, once again, a lot of defense on H-Man's hand. Not a whole lot of offensive capabilities. Snecky not feeling a whole lot of threat here coming from it, but Prismatic Armor coming down. It's going to use up a lot of resources to cast. So I'm hoping he's keeping a hand where he can still stabilize into this. However, with Prismatic Armor, if he starts laying cards, he's also going to draw cards. So we'll see what Snecky decides to do here. He could just pass draw the next 3 turns, wait for that card to go out, or he could feed H-Man the Man's hand size and try and push through whatever he can. Reckless Spirit comes down, probably a great use of that. There are not a whole lot of threatening buffs, and killing a combo buff that would just really get him some nice card draw and defensive capabilities allows Snecky to put the constant pressure on without losing a few turns of tempo. Snecky putting down Beast Caller. So Green Sprout, I'm assuming, is now a hybrid between Beast and Insect, which is very interesting to see. Which means that you'd probably have to anticipate he's running a combo like Stampede. Crystal Bat comes down. H-Man the Man just trying to apply pressure. 2 cards back in hand, but Snecky is just at 18. Not feeling a whole lot of pressure on him as he has 5 cards in hand. Now is a time that nature probably can start overwhelming with the board state. H-Man the Man might need to recoup his hand, get a lot of card draw going. Snecky once again being a great person to help me comment on this. Just holding off his turn, allowing this dead space for me to get my last few words in, anticipating plays. Gotta love for the commentating side. Now Snecky does have 5 cards in hand, wondering what he's going to do with the cards. If he has cards like Infected the Skeetos, he's not going to get the healing on him. So he might be trying to think about what board state he can establish. And it looks like he does establish a very dominant presence here. He has the Tunneler and the Corvid Conspiracy coming down in the same turn. H-Man the Man, wondering if it's worth it to apply pressure with a Flame Bat, decides not to, picks up the Mountain Fort. That is an amazing draw from him and the Colossi Idols, preventing combos from being played. Now it's time to be a little more defensive, maybe rebuild my hand size back up to pick up from where my tempo was lost. Snecky decides to pass draw here. He knows his board state is very strong as it is. Doesn't need to overextend on it. Can just draw, keep his resources at a stable amount. H-Man the Man does immediately slam down that Mountain Fort. Picks up a Crystal Leech, which is great to see. That can remove a lot of nice threats, like the Tunneler and the Beast Caller, which is what he's looking at right now, to prevent Snecky from just really building up a nice board state and overwhelming his opponent. We do see an attack ability come from the Tunneler. Snecky could just pass draw here. He doesn't need to overextend, as I said before. His board is still pretty threatening. It is going to draw him cards if the Corvid rotates out with the Beast Caller, which looks like exactly what he does. H-Man the Man could use this as a great turn to Crystal Leech if he decides to. He does lay Colossi Idols and pass. Maybe he doesn't think that the board state is that threatening. Maybe he's looking for some other buffs to remove with Crystal Leech. Passes draws, gets Recarving. Actually has all the cards to play Recarving in his hand. Tunneler attacks, removes that Mountain Fort. He's now looking at what cards he would get back with the Recarving. Snecky does decide to pass draw there. H-Man the Man could just be like, you know what? Recarving isn't that bad. I'll take it. But he's contemplating whether or not it's good to dish the Crystal Leech right now against nature's hand size. He is going to pick up the Pyrofiend, Prismite Scuttler, Swift Pyre, and Prismatic Armor. The combo will be unplayable right now, but that Prismite Scuttler and Swift Pyre could get him the card draw utility that he does need to be able to get back into this game. And he does pick up the Crystal Leech again in case Snecky decides to once again reestablish his board dominance. Snecky with about 8 cards in hand. Giving him a well-played 18-18. I cannot wait to see what comes out of this. I want to see like the most dominant Stampede play right now. Thornleg Scuttler hitting for 6. Very nice off of a combo. Are we going to see another follow-up from Snecky? Is now Snecky's time to push damage through. We do have a Corvid Conspiracy come down. Crystal Leech might be hitting the board as well, along with a Swift Pyre. I would not be surprised if that came down as well. It is card draw. It is a little bit of damage come through. He wanted to lay the Scuttler to get more card draw as well, but it looks like he's just going to pass, rebuild his resources in hand, picks up the Mountain Breaker. As soon as we see this start going off, we have a Swift Pyre and Mountain Breaker turn next turn, but Canopy Creeper is going to put back that Corvus Conspiracy back into play. Threatening a lot of damage from Snecky. He's still sitting at 20. H-Man slamming down a Mountain Breaker. Pass drawing, trying to build up his resources. Picking up another Crystal Leech. Great to see there. Hopefully Snecky is able to close this out. He does have a lot of insect attack cards in hand, as we've been seeing. He might just be able to blow him out with those. Or he could try and establish a much-needed board presence here, not knowing that H-Man does have that Crystal Leech in hand. Can we also just talk about how Crystal Leech is not an insect, but it's a beast? It's clearly an insect. Like, what? Snecky using that Ashwood Nurture, drawing a beast card, decides to pass draw his second action. Mountain Breaker rotates. H-Man is wondering, what do I do? Do I lay the Swift Pyre? Do I lay the Prismite Scuttler? How much do I really want to get out of this to try and stay in it? He does Tyrannos that Mountain Breaker away. Feels bad not getting the healing off of it, or not getting the damage off of it, but he does need to heal. He's sitting there at 9, knowing Snecky has a large hand size, needs to get as much use out of his ability as possible. Swift Pyre does come down. H-Man at 11. Snecky sitting at a very comfortable 22. A lot of cards in hand. Really nice offensive pressure from Nature coming in right now. Decides to put up Bane Bloom. Probably one of my favorite Nature combos of all time. Pays with Zeefling Mob and an Insect Swarm. Draws 2 cards off it for coming into play, getting a nice chip damage in. Representing 3 damage just on board. Snecky doesn't seem like he's slowing down his pressure at all. We draw Colossi Idol. Unfortunately, 1 turn too late, as that Bane Bloom is already on the board. Crystal Leech, however, could be what he needs right now. Great counterplay to that Bane Bloom, preventing his card draw, his tempo mechanic. Pass drawing here seems fine. Draga Scorcher picking up a nice attack, damage representation. Unfortunately, not having what he needs for that Prismatic Armor, which is probably a really clutch card to have if he's able to put it on the board. Snecky just deciding to pass draw, really rekindle his resources. His opponent's sitting at 10, but Snecky is probably looking for something so that he knows he can have back-to-back pressure turns to keep him up in the game. H-Man the man, putting down the Prismbite Scuttler for 2 damage, getting represented future card draw. Snecky just still biding his time, sitting at 17. H-Man is not putting on that much pressure, sitting on a lot of defensive cards in hand. Colossi Idol does come down. We could see a pass draw, hoping to get another fire buff for that Pyro Fiend to really utilize and get its full potential in. Drawing a Steadfast Beacon is really great here, as we've seen Snecky has a lot of insect attack cards in his deck. That Steadfast Beacon could be a lifesaver for H-Man. We do see the Bramble Spike come down. There's another Crystal Leech drawn off of that. Might not be the time, but I think the Beacon is going to be put down here. And probably just a pass or a Boulder Feast. Trying to re-come into this and restabilize his position as keeping up momentum with Snecky. Beacon is going to hit the board here. And we are going to see a pass. A second Beacon also comes down. Looks like Snecky's just past drawing. His hand size is getting extremely large. I'm wondering if he's looking for something specific, or if he just wants to make sure that he has 3 or 4 good turns to come through, knowing that Tyrannos does have a lot of defensive healing capabilities in his tool set. We do see Pyro Fiend come down, only being able to put in the Draga Scorcher, but getting that nice 2 damage in, utilizing it as best as he can. We may see a pass. We could see a second Steadfast Beacon come down, which is exactly what we do. Now he has a nice card draw engine if his opponent decides to attack. With that Bramble Spike in play, it's almost guaranteed that Snecky is going to be playing at least some attack cards to keep that buff on the board. If it is, that means H-Man is going to be drawing some cards. As we see Snecky deciding what he wants to do here in this predicament. He is staring down 6 damage from the Draga Scorcher. Knowing he's going to be put to 9, He decides to Stampede. That's what he's been waiting for. Building up a very large hand, being able to have 4 unique insect or beast cards in hand to play. This could be the tempo swing that he needs. Infected Wasp comes in. 7 damage to H-Man. I believe this is the turn that Snecky had been waiting for. Building up a board presence, building up a nice damage, putting the Vicious Scale Fang into play for 2. He has 2 actions to do 3 damage. I think this game is over. Spinebark Forager. Choosing a beast. Getting that Core of Conspiracy down. Crystalbat coming back for H-Man, but it might be too late as we are seeing a final action come down. Spineback Stockjaw for lethal. Getting the 1 damage in. Seeing a very nice deck built actually probably around Stampede, as it does utilize a lot of beast and insect cards in unison. Very well put together deck by Snecky. I like it a lot. It's really fun to see what kind of combinations you can put together with... Well, it started off good. Great games by all. Mudturtle, would you like to give your comments on the games?
Yeah, that was just Snacky played that deck perfectly. He played the Egg Chambers at the beginning to get some cards. He drew the Reckless Spirits, removed the right buffs, played that Stampede at the right play. Yeah, he just played that game perfectly.
Exactly. No, I mean, that Beast and Insect hybrid deck was very well put together. Stampede, obviously, a really key card in that as well. It felt like he was in control of the entire game. He didn't have a whole lot of burst healing, but then again, the H-Man did not have a whole lot of offensive capabilities that he had in previous games. His Mountain Breakers weren't being utilized to their full potential. He did have the Flame Bats and all the other elemental cards and stuff, but he just didn't have them at the right time. I do think it was a bit of a misplay to slam that prismatic armor down as soon as he did. Getting it removed was a huge tempo swing that he was not able to recover from. But I think that dumping your entire hand that early without having a backup plan might not have been the best play. As you right now were not in a position where you needed to be defensive, you probably could have waited it out and tempoed it out. That something like that, obviously, as we've seen, is either a big payoff or a big tempo swing in the opponent's favor if they have the card to counteract it. And that's exactly what Snecky had. Bud, any last thoughts on these games? As we're still waiting on a bunch of other players to put their games in. But
yeah, I just want to say that I like how interesting these games have been without having the Cage of Oppressions and the Crystal Cores and banning stall play. I think that these games have really been interesting to watch. Also, I was expecting to have a lot more aggro out there, but actually, it seems like in banning all these things, we actually have more buff play.
Which is amazing to see. That is a great insight to have. Because what we did we crunched the numbers. There's like over 2/3 of the entire card pool is buffs, and everyone was playing just aggro because it was more efficient. And you're right, we are seeing a lot of buff decks. We're seeing a lot of really good usage of the board state, being able to have those counteractive plays with a simple rules of 3 rules being in play. No Crystal Core, no cages, no stall. Removing those 3 key factors is opening up the game to so much diversity, and it's amazing to see that if we can just keep this going, I think this game has a lot of advancement opportunities, a lot of fun deck building stuff to do, and it's awesome to see that those subtle changes, those little things, just removing them, will open this game up to a whole window of opportunity. So it's amazing.
Yeah, also, Legacy is also banned. It's pretty much standard play only.
Oh, true.
So it's interesting to see about how balanced the game really is after Legacy when you throw out Cage of Oppression.
Yep, exactly. And stall as well. Cage of Oppression was meant to counter stall.
Yeah.
So you throw both those out and just say, hey, can't play either of these. Let's see what else there is in the game. And removing those 2 key factors, as I've said before, having those 2 things really kind of narrows down deck construction, where like if you're not playing either of these 2, how are you going to win? Removing those 2 really opens up the floodgate to a bunch of possibilities to be creative in your deck building. Terror Shock says maybe the portable turret should have been banned too. I think it opens up some creative deck building. I mean, it's not a broken card. It's just it's a very good item.
TS's whole gameplay is about abusing whatever he can.
I mean, shouldn't that be the best of every deck? Is to abuse the best cards? It's not abusive if it's proper deck construction. Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you guys very much. Like I said, we're putting the videos in. Let me get myself a little bigger here. Oh, so large and in charge. Thank you guys very much for being able to post your videos on the Online Lightseekers Discord channel. I always love watching these. I love commenting on these. I'm really happy Mud Turtle was actually here today with me to be able to talk about these and comment on them, as he is the league coordinator and the head honcho, so to speak. So thank you, Mud Turtle, for being here with me. Thank you guys for posting your videos. I cannot wait to see more. Like I said, guys, get them in as early as possible so that Saturday morning comes around. We can review them like this. We can comment on them. We can talk about them. We can just enjoy the league as a whole, like Saturday Night Football, but instead it's Saturday morning Lightseekers. So, Mud Turtle, any last words?
Thanks to everyone for posting their videos. Keep doing it. And also, if you want to make Greshu's job a little easier, if you want to submit your decks to him through Discord, that way he can give a little bit more proper commenting. That would be great.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I'd love to be able to have your deck list kind of on another monitor and look at it to see what kind of tools you are looking for, or get a better insight of to what you're playing. Having a deck list as a commentator, being able to just see the whole deck list, be like, okay, he has these cards. The card that he needs to find is such and such. It'll really help him come back in this game. That's probably what he's looking for. Just be able to give some of those better insights is always much appreciated. You can find me in the Discord, send me a PM, be like, hey, if you're watching my video, here's my deck list of the decks I was using. Can't wait to hear your commentary. Something like that is just, it's always helpful to have. So yeah, thank you very much for saying that, Mud Turtle. As we are now out of games for the week of people that posted, hopefully people will try and get those in by tomorrow at the latest. I think now's a good time to just take a short break. Refill my water bottle. My throat is very scratchy from talking so much. When we come back, two things. We can either A, keep playing Grievous if we want to, or B, we can actually jump back into Lightseekers, and we can... I really want to try and build that Machia deck. Oh, yes, deck docking. Thank you. It's been so long since anyone said anything about that. Deck doctoring. Yes, I do have some deck doctoring submissions that we will talk about when we get back. So, yes, when we get back, we will jump into that, and we will actually get back into Lightseekers. Aggro Magrock, Machia. I like it. I like it a lot. All right, guys. I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.